welcome back to another episode of the Life's Playbook podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, this is season 4, episode 1 of the Life's Playbook podcast. For those of you who are new to the show, I'm your host, Quinn Jackson. I'm joined today by my co-host, Noah Hawley. And what better way to start off the first episode of season 4 with a banger, that being the NBA playoffs that are going on right now as we speak. We're going to be predicting the entire NBA playoffs today's episode. Again, this is our predictions. Our opinions are as different as the next guy's. So, with that being said, let's dive into the very first episode of season 4. Before we get started with today's episode, make sure to download Prize Picks, the most elite sports fantasy app. Having said that, let's dive into today's episode. We're going to go through each series by series, each conference, round by round, until we get to the NBA Finals and predict who we think is going to be the 2025 NBA champion. I will kick us off with a quick rundown of all of the Eastern teams, the rankings, and the matchups. Starting with our number 1 Cleveland Cavaliers taking on the number 8 Miami Heat. The Indiana Pacers, number 4 seed, taking on the 5 seed Milwaukee Bucks. The 3 seed New York Knicks taking on the Detroit Pistons. The 6 seed Detroit Pistons. And to cap off the Eastern Conference teams, we have the number 2 Celtics taking on the number 7 Orlando Magic. That is your Eastern Conference series and matchups and standings. Noah, you got us with the Western Conference. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the standings, series, and matchups for the Western Conference. Again, we're going to go through round by round. What better way to kick off the predictions than our very own Cleveland Cavaliers taking on the Miami Heat? I will start first. I am amazed that the Heat are even here in the first place. They not only have the worst record out of all the teams here, but they were essentially, before the play-in tournament, they were the 10th seed overall in the East. They somehow beat the Hawks. Hawks, y'all should be ashamed of yourselves for losing that one. The Heat should have never been here in the first place. I don't know how the Hawks lost that one. Shame on you guys. But there is always next year. With that being said, in my opinion, and again, we are Cavs fans, but we're going to try to be as unbiased as possible. But we're going to be biased here I'm going to be biased here because this is essentially a one-sided matchup, in my opinion. This is essentially a 10th seed taking on a number 1 seed. Give me the Cavs in 4, if not 5. Very, very interesting. Very interesting that is your take. Good point though on the consistency. I do know that the Cavs were on a 4-game losing streak down the stretch. We did manage to close out the Celtics and secure the 1 seed. But very interesting take. Good point though on the consistency. We will see how that fares against the Heat. So with that being said, we both have the Cavs advancing to the semifinals, aka round 2, which brings us to the Pacers versus the Bucks. Now the Pacers already have a 1-0 lead. Game 1 just finished a couple minutes ago, and the Pacers just smacked the Bucks. Now I don't think that is going to tell the tale of the series. I don't think the Pacers are going to smack the Bucks the entire step of the way. I do think the Bucks will adapt. They will get better moving forward in the series. It's going to be interesting, the situation with Dame. I don't know if he's going to be fully. I don't know if he's fully ready for the playoffs yet. I don't even know if he's in the lineup or not. If he even played today. But it's going to be interesting because his impact is definitely going to impact the series as a whole. Giannis's impact. I know Giannis is going to show up, but it's his supporting cast and his bench that's ultimately going to dictate this series for the Bucks. I am rocking with the Pacers. Having said that, I do think the Pacers will win this series, but again, I don't think Game 1 is going to tell the tale. I think I like the Pacers here in 6, not 7. I think the Bucks will adapt down the line.
That just said it right there for the bench. I feel game one tells the story about how the match is going to go. And I have a clean sweep or no.
That is, we'll see how that plays out as well. It's the supporting cast for Giannis is going to have to play real big if they want to stand a chance in this series. Props to the Pacers, though, they came out swinging, and I think they'll continue to keep coming out swinging. But I do think the Bucks, they will find a way somehow to make this a series. But with that being said, we have the Pacers advancing to round 2, take on our Cleveland Cavaliers, which brings us to number 6 Pistons taking on the number 3 Knicks. Now, earlier in our previous video, when we were talking about the standings, this was about a month before the playoffs, we had the Pistons in an upset against the Knicks. My opinion has not changed on this series whatsoever. I still think Pistons will upset here, but I do think it's going to be Pistons in 6. I don't think it's going to get to a 7, but I do think it's going to be Pistons in 6. The Knicks, they are good, but they have a history of not showing up in the playoffs. It's going to be interesting to see, the defensive side of the ball for the Knicks. And, is Karl Anthony Towns going to show up big time? He's been playing great in the regular season, all season long, not taking anything away from him. Jalen Brunson is still great. I don't have a lot of trust in Mikal Bridges as a third option, and I'm not really fond of the rest of the supporting cast for the Knicks. But I do like the Pistons here. They are going to get the upset, but I think it's going to be somewhat close. 6 games max. I like the Pistons coming out of this one. Having said that, we got the Pistons advancing to round 2. By the way, the Pistons even being here in the first place is history in the making. Props to the Pistons for even making the playoffs in the first place. We know it's been a long journey from last season to get here. With that being said, that brings us to the final series in the first round of the East. The Celtics versus the Magic. Just like the Cavs, in my opinion, I think it's another one-sided matchup. I do think the Celtics will take this one in 4, if not 5 max. The Celtics just have too much experience, too many champions on that team, great coach, and the Magic have just had a underwhelming season all year long. Granted, injuries did play a huge part in that, but I don't think the underwhelming performance is going to let up, and it is the Celtics. Give me the Celtics in 4, if not 5 games max, to advance, play this in the second round. So, with that being said, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers taking on the Pacers in round two, and the Pistons taking on the Celtics in round two. We will come back to those matchups in a minute. Let's move on to the West and break down the first round of the West, starting with the number one seed OKC Thunder taking on the number eight seed Memphis Grizzlies. Noah, you want to kick off your opinion first for the West, this matchup?
So yeah, I got Thunder. They're they're a younger team, but they do have playoff experience over there. You know, Chet Holmgren, Shea. They're the number one seed for a reason. They're on a good run this year, and I don't really feel John Morant has much show over there. He does have. I just don't feel they have the roster to keep up with the Thunder. I have Thunder winning in game four.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there as well. The Thunder do have some playoff experience. They did make the playoff last year, also as the one seed. They got down rather early last year. This year, they're looking to come back stronger and better than ever, like you said. I think that's going to show here. The Grizzlies also barely scraped by the play-in tournament. I do think it's going to be a little closer than people anticipate. I think OKC is going to get taken down to a six-game max. I don't think it's going to get game seven, but I do think it'll be a six-game max. But I agree with you there. I think OKC gets the job here at six. Young, talented team with experience under their belt now. That team is only destined for greatness in the playoffs. But we do know the West is very tight, very competitive. We'll see how far they run. Which brings us to the Nuggets versus the Clippers. Now, granted, game one is going on right now, and the Clippers are currently winning by 10 right now. But let's hear it from you, Noah. Who you think is going to win the series overall?
So the Nuggets, they have they got Russell Westbrook, Nikola Jokic. I think they still have Aaron Gordon on that team. But the Clippers, they're an experienced team over there. Kawhi Leonard, and they're hungry, man. You know, it's their last. A lot of these older guys on the team, it's their last chance. Probably, a lot of these guys last year playing in the league, they're going to leave everything out. And I do have the Clippers winning this in the game.
The Clippers winning, yes, it's interesting. Interesting. I do have to disagree with you here. I think the Nuggets can get the job done here. I think they I don't think the Clippers ultimately have the roster to stop Jokic. And although I understand that Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray have not played well, they have kind of been underwhelming. This is the playoffs now. Hopefully they step up for Westbrook and Jokic. And like you said, a lot of these older guys, some of them like Westbrook and Harden and Kawhi even, maybe their last chance at a run here for a title. Some of them their first and possibly last title ever. But I do think the Nuggets, they got playoff experience. They have a championship under their belt with a majority of the guys that they still have. And I think, personally, I like the Nuggets coming out of this one. In a close series, I think it's going to be closer than people anticipate. Most people probably just write it off as Jokic will carry in this series, but I think I got him in six. But I do think the Nuggets get the job done here. Might be an upset though with your take on the Clippers beating the Nuggets. But we shall see. We shall see. Now here's where I think personally there could be a definite upset, and that is the Timberwolves taking on the Lakers. Let's hear from you first, Noah. Who you think is going to advance from this matchup?
And I know Anthony Edwards, he's a great player, outstanding player, but I like Lakers in game seven.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a Game 7 type of series. The Timberwolves, they've had a pretty underwhelming regular season. I've been very vocal about that. Kind of surprised that they're in the position that they're in as 60, but they're in nonetheless. And we know that Anthony Edwards turns it up in the playoffs. He showed it multiple times. He's not going to let the Timberwolves get swept. It's going to be close. With that being said, I think I'm going to rock with the Lakers. I'm going to rock with you on this one. I think the Lakers will get the job done in a Game 7. But I would not be surprised if the Timberwolves pull an upset here because they are just as tough and gritty as the next team. So I'm going to go with the Lakers in 7 here to advance. With that being said, that brings us to the Rockets, Fort Worth, the Warriors. Who do we like coming out of this one? Is this a one-sided matchup, although the rankings show otherwise? Is this a one-sided matchup?
One time matchup, the Warriors just kind of fell short more of the MVP. Rocket, a younger team, a bunch of young guys over there. They do have Dylan Brooks, and they got that. They got that all, man. Jalen Green really turned it around this year. He's been showing it on the court. He's going to leave it out there on the court as well. Outstanding player. I do have the Warriors in game that.
Yeah, I think this is. I'm inclined to. Personally, I'm inclined to say that this is a one-sided matchup, mainly because the experience gap between the teams is very vast. I mean, very vast. Like everybody on the Warriors has been in this situation, and except for Jimmy, they've won a shit. But you did bring up a lot of great points. I am rocking with the Warriors here in a game 6, game 5 or 6. I think it'll be 5 or 6 games. I think this will be a somewhat competitive series. I am taking the Warriors here in 5 or 6 games. Playoff Jimmy, it's time to shine. Playoff Steph, it's time to shine. And Draymond, it's time to back up those words that we all remember you said. The Warriors were going to win it this year. It's time to back it up. Time to play clean basketball because, believe it or not, I think Draymond's performance throughout this entire playoffs is going to dictate the Warriors' success in the playoffs. So we both got the Warriors advancing to play LA in round 2. With that being said, quick recap of all the teams that we have advancing to round 2. In the East, we have the Cavs taking on the Pacers and the Celtics taking on the Pistons. And in the West, we have LA taking on the Warriors and OKC. I have OKC taking on the Nuggets. Noah, you have OKC taking on the Clippers. So moving back to the East, second round. Let's talk about it. The Cleveland Cavaliers taking on the Indiana Pacers. I'll kick us off first. I think we're going to get the job done here. I think it's going to be a close series. I think we're going to get taken down to a game 7, possibly, if not a game 6 at the most. It's going to be much closer than I think the Heat matchup will. But give me the Cavs in a game 6, 7 max if it gets down to that point. I think the Pacers, although they are young, they got stars. They have playoff experience. They're going to definitely bring it in. The Cavs have been known at times to sometimes play down to the level of their competition, or sometimes on some nights be underwhelming. Hence that 4-game losing streak. But I do have the Cavs advancing here. It's going to be much tougher than I think the Heat will be.
I agree with you on this matchup, man. This all just comes down to how Cavaliers play. You have an LE Donovan Mitchell, LE Jared Allen. We do have an LE roster in there. I do have it a close matchup. Cavaliers taking it that, but they did lose more to the end of the league. This is all going to come down to one more. I do have Cavaliers.
With that being said, we have the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals right now, and I think the Eastern Conference Finals is going to be the Celtics versus the Cavs, because I don't think the Pacers, as valiant as your season, or Pistons, as your season has been, with the epic turnaround and all the epic moves that you made and the winning record, it's all great. You're not getting the job done here against the Celtics. We're giving you the upset against the Knicks, but you're not getting the job done here against the Celtics. Pretty much the same thing, same reasoning against the Magic. Celtics too experienced. I think they have the better roster just on all 5 positions plus bench. I think they could sweep if they really wanted to, but I think the Pistons, they will be scrappy, and I think I got the Celtics and 5 max. Celtics and 5.
So yeah, I agree with you completely on the reason that's why I felt like they just want experience and the Pistons just too young of a team. They don't really have what it is yet to win. But I don't have them going out without like I do have the Celtics taking it in game. So.
With that being said, we got the Eastern Conference matchup between the Celtics and the Cavs, which I think if it does come down to an Eastern Conference Celtics versus Cavs, it will definitely be cinema. We will come back to that in a minute. Heading back to the West, round 2. Let's start with OKC. We'll start with you having OKC against the Clippers. Who do you like coming out of that one?
I like OKC taking this one. The Clippers have the upset against the Nuggets, but I don't feel that Kawhi Leonard, game partner, show up as well. Higher after the game, the Nuggets, age so that one, and the young team, they're gonna run them up and down the court. I do have.
I do have the Nuggets. I do personally have the Nuggets playing OKC, but in case the Clippers do advance to play the Thunder, I'll give my take on a Clippers Thunder matchup as well. I do think I am rocking with the Thunder here as well. I think the Clippers, they're experienced. They do have the experience gap over the Thunder. They do have guys that have been in this position before. But like you said, they also have guys that have been known to not show up in the playoffs. That being James Harden and occasionally Kawhi, because he'll have that random injury mid-series that kind of derails the entire team. But we'll see if that's a factor here. But I do like OKC coming out of that one. Moving back to my original pick, the Nuggets taking on OKC. Same thing, I'm still rocking with OKC here. I think it's going to be close. This is definitely going to be a Game 7 series. If the Nuggets do advance to play OKC, I think this is definitely going to be a Game 7 series. Jokic is not going to go out without a bang. Westbrook, as much as he's played well on the Nuggets. He's played well on the Nuggets, and I think he's going to play well this entire playoffs. I think he's moved past the Westbrook allegations and all that because he has been balling lately. Again, I think the supporting cast for the Nuggets are going to have to show up in this series if they want to have a chance. So I do have OKC advancing. Either way, if OKC plays either the Clippers or the Nuggets, I have them advancing both in close matchups. Game 7, definitely, if they play the Nuggets, but Game 6, at max, if they play the Clippers. So right now, we both got the Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. With that being said,
so far right now, the Clippers are leading.
that is true. That is true. They are currently beating the Nuggets right now, 35-27. That's definitely going to be an interesting game. With that being said, interesting series. With that being said, we both have LA taking on Golden State. This is your classic LeBron versus Steph rivalry. And this could be the last time we see this rivalry. If our prediction is correct and this matchup does happen, this could be the last LeBron versus Steph rivalry. And this is definitely going to be a Game 7 series. It's very, very tough. Very tough to pick a team out of this one. But Noah, let's hear from you first. Who do you think is going to come out of this? Very, very interesting. Very quickly. So, man, for the sake of the episode, give me LA. Give me LA over the Warriors. I think left Jimmy is great. Steph is great. He will go down as the greatest point guard of all time. Yes, Magic fans, y'all can grind the corner about that. Steph will go down as the greatest point guard of all time. But and again, I did say Draymond's performance throughout the entire playoffs is going to dictate the Warriors' success too. But I mean, outside of those three, I don't really know who else is going to elevate the Warriors as much as LA's got. It's Luka and LeBron. Luka and LeBron. I don't know if I can go against that. It is definitely going to be a Game 7, but give me LA in 7 for the sake of the episode. But I would not be surprised if the Warriors win as well, because this is the last ride for obviously LeBron and Curry. It's going to be a great series. I got LA to advance to the Western Conference Finals, take on OKC. Definitely interesting. Definitely might ruffle some feathers with that series, but who knows? There are a lot of great factors and a lot of greats on both sides. Either pick would not be crazy, but let's move on. Let us not dwell on this no more. We must move on to the conference final matchups. We have the Celtics taking on our Cleveland Cavs. And you have the Warriors taking on OKC. I have LA taking on OKC. Let's start with the East again. This matchup is definitely, if the Cavs play good, they don't slack off, they don't do none of that. If we are healthy by the time if we make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and if we are healthy, this is definitely a Game 7 series. Definitely a Game 7 series for sure. Obviously, in the regular season, I'm pretty sure we have the edge. We beat them 3 times, right, in the regular season. They beat us twice. So there's some history there. However, this is the playoffs and things are much, much different. This might sound like biasy again, but give me the Cavs in 7 games to advance to the NBA Finals. Yes, Celtics fans, come at me all you want. It's gonna sound like I'm being biased yet again, but it's I'm giving y'all a Game 7. I'm giving this a Game 7 because it's going to be close. So give me the Cavs in a Game 7. Again, it's gonna depend on how we look down the stretch. If we're healthy and if we don't slack off, if we don't fall asleep a game or two, it's definitely going to be an interesting Eastern Conference Finals. But give me the Cavs to sneak by in Game 7, and I'm talking sneak by. Like that Game 7, it might come down to like a clutch buzzer-beating 3-point shot from, who knows, Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland. That's how close I think that's going to be. But give me the Cavs in 7. Noah, what do you think? Are you joining the Cavs train, or do you think otherwise? So with that being said, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers for the first time since 2016, right? No, 2018. I think that was the last time we made the finals. Because then we make the finals in 2018 with 2018 Braun. Yeah. For the first time in 2018, we have the Cleveland Cavs in the NBA Finals. Moving on to the West, you have the Warriors taking on OKC. I have OKC taking on LA. Let's start with you first. Who do you think is going to walk out of that one?
I'm gonna be honest. If I could turn back time, I would pick the Lakers, but I got to stick with my decision with the with the Warriors, bro. So yeah, some good teams, The Warriors, the Warriors, very playoff experienced team. They do have 4 chips, as Klay Thompson likes to boast about all the time. Whenever somebody smacks talking him in the game about how he has 4 rings, that doesn't mean nothing, bro. You're trash. But yeah, I have the Thunder taking this matchup in a game 6. No, somebody's going to get injured, or Jimmy Butler is going to take a night off. Draymond Green, he's going to get fouled out, get teed up. I got OKC in 6. Somebody's going to get injured, or Jimmy Butler is going to take a night off. Draymond Green is going to get fouled out, get teed up. I got OKC.
With that being said, I got LA taking on OKC. I think, and this is going to be the hot take for the episode, in my opinion. My hot take for the episode, I have LA beating OKC. Now, hear me out. Hear me out. I know Shea is probably going to be an MVP by then. He's probably going to be doing amazing things. That team is great. They are young, but that is also the problem. They are young. LA has experienced guys. Luka, previously made not only the Western Conference Finals, but he just recently made the NBA Finals. LeBron, ton of finals experience, and we know he's going to show up. We know Luka is going to show up, and all the series that I have LA winning, we know they're going to show up. Austin Reeves, if he has a bad night, not going to lie, he has a bad night every now and then, but I think he's going to understand the magnitude of the level that they're going to have to play. The bench is definitely, I will admit, I don't think there's a single bench player that can hang with Chet Holmgren and, all the other guys on OKC. I think LA is going to have to look into the bench from the offseason. But I think the experience, playoff risers, I think all that adds up to LA beating OKC and advancing to LeBron's possibly last ever NBA Finals in 7 games. I think it's going to be another 7-game series. But I know OKC fans are probably going to come to my head for this, but LeBron and Luka on the same team is kind of unbeatable. In certain matchups, they are virtually an unbeatable duo. I think OKC, they stop here. I think OKC has one more season to go where they can confidently march their way to a championship. But it ain't going to be this year, in my opinion. Give me LA to advance to the NBA Finals. That being said, you have OKC taking on the Cavs, and I have LA taking on the Cavs. We're going to go through our original picks as well as you know the other possibilities. Let's start with OKC versus Cleveland.
So
Let's
yeah,
start with that. Let's
without
hear
a
from you
doubt, the
first,
two
Noah.
number one seed.
Who do you think
It's
is
gonna be
going
a
to
good matchup. Jared Allen
2025
paired up against
NBA champion?
Chet Holmgren and possibly Donovan Mitchell on Shea, or it could be Evan Mobley guarding Shea. And it's all going to depend on a healthy Cavs roster and a healthy OKC roster. I like the Cavs, bro. I like the Cavs in a game 6, game 7 sort of deal. This is given that they did put on the same performance that they did earlier on in the season when they did face OKC. So I like the Cavs taking this one. I would like to say though, if the Lakers are paired up against the Cavs, I'll talk about that later. When you give your input, because that's your pick. But yeah, Cavs in 6 or 7. I would like to say though, if the Lakers are paired up against the Cavs, I'll talk about that later. You give your input, that's your pick. Yeah.
All right. I'm inclined to agree with you here. I think the Cavs can pull one out in 6 or 7. If it does get to this point, because again, this is our opinion, guys. Our opinion is vastly different than the next guys. And for all we know, we could have abnormally crazy takes about all of this. For all we know, we could be right. But anyways, just wanted to throw that out there. Anyways, I think the Cavs can pull this one out 6 or 7. I think, like I said, this is all taking into account how we look down the stretch. Who we got playing. We have any injuries that might sway the probabilities, sway the media. But if we're still fully healthy by then, and if we do make the finals, and if we do play OKC, I think we have the backcourt to handle Chet and bench. I think our guards and Garland and Mitchell, they are more than capable in keeping up with Shea and company. I think basically what I'm saying, we have the roster to be able to take on OKC because we did it in the regular season. Not granted that regular season, but we have the roster to compete with them. And I think I like the Cavs coming out of this one in 6 or 7 to be the 2025 NBA champions. With that being said, let's circle back to my pick. If LA if LA ends up making it to the finals, Noah, what do you think on
So yeah, I'll
on
tell you how
on
this
that?
matchup's
Do you
gonna
think
go.
LA is gonna beat us,
Cavs
or
are
do
gonna
you
take
still
the
have the
first two
Cavs
games, then the
winning the
Lakers are
ship?
gonna take the next. But then the Cavs are gonna go up one, putting LeBron down 3-1, like how he was against the Warriors. All right, listen, listen, I'm cooking right now. All right, LeBron is going to recreate what he did against the Warriors. 3-1, like how he was against the
Mm-hmm.
Warriors.
All
Donovan Mitchell go up with a layup. LeBron just come out of nowhere, off the glass, right? Then
right.
Bronny James, he in the game, cooking, right? Dude, now the matchup's tied up 3-3. Game 7 in double overtime, right? It's tied up 101 to 101, right? Donovan Mitchell has the ball, passes it to Darius Garden. It's going to be Austin Reeves. No, it's going to be Luka Garden. Darius Garden. He's going to go to the left wing, right? Tween. 5, 4, 3, pull up. Midi 2-1. Ball game. Cavs take that stuff in game 7. With the score 103 to 101. LeBron retires in Cleveland. There you go. Ultimate cinema.
Well, I don't think that's the most crazy outcome. It's definitely possible. But if LA ends up in this situation against us, I think I gotta go with another crazy hot take, and I think LA gets the job done here against us. Yes, my bias is coming to an end right now. I don't know. I think watching LA this entire season, or at least keeping up with them, because I've watched every single game from LA, but keeping up with them and the moves that they made when they got Luka, which drastically improved the front court. I think they really the Lakers as a whole, they've really elevated the team with that trade and everything that they've done and how they looked. I just think that when they get into the playoffs and if they're in this situation, I think LA is one of those teams that could win it all. And I think if everything is true, if our prediction is true, and LA does end up in the finals, I think they could win it. I think LeBron can win his 5th and final ring, and yes, like you said, he will retire a Cavalier and a Heat and a Laker, and he'll probably get his statue with Miami, Cleveland, and maybe LA. But I don't know. I like LA. They've done a lot of good things this season. All roads point to a finals, if not a Western Conference Finals appearance. But the big thing is overall, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers, the 2025 NBA champions for the first time since 26 freaking team. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is our full prediction of this year's NBA playoffs. Again, our opinions are as different as the next guys. And yes, some of these takes may have been drastic. No, I don't think your take with the Warriors and the Lakers is that drastic because that is a very good matchup, a very good series. Any answer wouldn't be crazy to say. But yes, we did forget about AR-15 and Luka, and they are game changers. But not crazy to pick the Warriors either. But yes, our opinions are vastly different as the next guys. Let us know down below who you think is in the comments section down below who you think is going to win it all. If you think our takes were crazy or not, but it'll be interesting to see all the matchups and what all the teams look like down the line. But and Celtics fans, I know for sure you guys are definitely going to be on our behinds about having the Cavs advance not only to the Eastern Conference Finals but to the finals. I know that for a fact. But yeah, this has been season 4. So we will catch you guys Thursday
The Denver Nuggets are getting absolutely
for
clapped
season
on right
4.
now
So
by the Clippers. So Put your money on the Clippers.
Yes, that is true. They are getting clapped right now. Nuggets, if y'all end up losing this game one, I'm going to need you guys to lock in the rest of this series. So I have you guys advancing to the second round. But we'll catch you guys Thursday. Also, draft is this week. NFL draft is this week, if I'm not mistaken. So stay tuned for that. There will be a recap of the first round of the draft. Stay tuned for that. Peace out.